Amdapor Keep. One of the great city-states from the 5th Astral Era, Amdapor was utterly destroyed in the wake of the War of the Magi and the 6th Umbral Calamity. As the Twelveswood began to envelop Amdapor's former territory, the elementals felt the unnatural power of this place and sealed it, lest its dark secrets fall into the wrong hands. These magics failed, however, when the land was ravaged by the 7th Umbral Calamity and Bahamut's wrath. The elementals were so weakened that the glamour over the keep was destroyed, revealing it for all to see, and the lands of Dalamud quickly adopted the keep as their new base of operation. Hi, I'm Tyler, Final Fantasy XIV player and amateur bartender, and I've made it my mission to craft a cocktail for every dungeon in the game. And today, we're doing Amdapor Keep. Welcome to a cocktail reborn. Let's get started. Amdapor Keep lacks identity. It's an abandoned military outpost from the White Mage civilization of Amdapor that housed imprisoned voidsent and has been taken over by a doomsday cult. I don't think I could tell you what my first experience with this dungeon was like if you put a gunblade to my head. It's not a bad dungeon by any means, but it's not exactly memorable. For the bosses, you've got Squiddy Face McGee with his rock-type Pokemon, my Final Fantasy XI PTSD flashback in Anantaboga, and the first appearance of a demon wall in Final Fantasy XIV. That is probably the one thing I do remember about my first time running this dungeon. Demon walls will always be cool to me. Ever since I first faced one in the Temple of Ancients in Final Fantasy VII, and I remember when I could see that menacing face through the doorway waiting, just waiting. It sent shivers all over. I've always thought it was a cool boss, and if I wanted to, I could probably base a cocktail just off of him. But unfortunately, he's a very small part of this dungeon, so it wouldn't make much sense to base an entire drink around the second boss. So while there are some fun elements to this dungeon, overall it just doesn't seem to have a character of its own. So I'll be using a spirit that is known for not having any character of its own. In fact, that's its defining trait. Let's craft. If you watched my other videos, you'll notice there's one very popular category of spirits that I have never used on this channel. Vodka is pretty much known for its lack of any flavor, and I typically don't mix with it because I want every part of my drinks to work towards the final taste. No free rides. However, that doesn't mean there's no place in modern mixology for it. On the contrary, if you want to feature the flavors of your modifiers without muddying the waters with another flavor, it's perfect for bringing up the ABV and nothing else. So for a dungeon that takes a backseat to the enemies roaming its halls, it's the perfect base. To represent those nerds with too much time on their hands, the Lambs of Dalamud, I previously used Campari. But these guys are clearly out of their depth here, so I want something a bit less impactful. Creme de cassis is a nice, sweet liqueur while still having a certain bitterness to it. Black currants lend a sort of burnt raisin flavor to this liqueur, which will play nicely with the rest of the ingredients. However, due to how sweet it is, it can run rampant and needs a bit of a wall to keep it in check. A demon wall, if you will. And for this, I'll be using one of my favorite amari. Amaro nonino is a good workhorse ingredient. It doesn't punch you in the face bitter, and it isn't overly sweet. It goes well with a lot of ingredients. I bought it originally because I wanted to make a paper plane, which, if you haven't made it yet, you probably should. They are fantastic. And I've been experimenting with it ever since. For the void presence in this dungeon, and Anantaboga in particular, I very easily could have just gone back to my old standby of Empress Indigo Gin. But I wanted to do something different, and these guys have been cooped up in here for 1,500 years, most of them in statues. And if I were cooped up for that long, it would take me a while to get my legs stretched, and I'd be moving about as slow as Molasses in January.
1 cup of blackstrap molasses coming up. Funny, I didn't think molasses would run in January.
So, for that very specious reasoning, I'll be representing the void with Molasses simple syrup. I got this recipe from the Smuggler's Cove book, and I will have it in the description under the cocktail recipe. I thought this drink could do with some bitters, and to go with the theme of the ancient civilization, I wanted to go with an older style of bitters, so we're doing Bokers bitters. They're primarily a cardamom-based bitter, and it adds a very nice perfume note. Finally, to mask the burn of the alcohol and to act as the shattered glamour of the elementals, we'll be using lemon juice. I'll be using my drink mixer for this, but you can just as easily shake it and pour it over crushed or pebble ice. I realize it's not even tiki adjacent, but I tried this both ways and this is the way I prefer the final product. Into the mixing tin goes 4 dashes of Bokers bitters, 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, 1/2 ounce of molasses syrup, 1/2 ounce creme de cassis, a full ounce of amaro nonino, and 2 ounces of vodka. Add pebble ice and flash blend for 5 to 6 seconds. Open pour into a lowball glass. For the garnish, cut a lemon wheel, wrap it around a cherry, and put it on a cocktail pick to represent the elemental's desire to retake this place and purge the taint of the lands of Dalamud. And here we have Amdapor Keep. Let's give it a taste.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Did you know that I film these videos 3 at a time? And usually, I've got at least 2 videos in queue when one goes live? Well, thanks to hitting 1,000 subscribers, I finally decided to create a Patreon. Right now, all that's going to be on it is early access to videos, but eventually I will be posting some of my favorite cocktails, not just Final Fantasy XIV related, and some things that are a little offbeat that I don't think will do as well on the main channel. Maybe some shots based on primals. Maybe I'll put some of the 0 ABV cocktails on there. Who knows? I might even do cocktails for other games. I have been playing video games since the 80s, so there's a lot. But you can sign up in the link in the description for this video, and let's continue with the cocktail. Good boy, Drogo. Who's your good boy? Are you my good boy, Drogo? Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Cheers. Gonna need to go in again. Despite using vodka as the base spirit, it's surprisingly complex. You get the cassis, you get that bit of bitterness from the cassis as well as the nonino. They're 2 different bitternesses, and is that a word? Bitternesses? Anyway, they work really well together. I think the molasses syrup was a good call. I think that added some nice complexity to it. The cardamom from the Bokers bitters adds just a little bit of a floral note in there. Yeah, it's there, but it's not like in your face. The rest of the drink takes up most of your attention. Overall, this is pretty good for a vodka drink. I was afraid when I made it that in the back of my mind I'd be going, this would be better with gin, this would be better with gin, this would be better with gin. I mean, really, if you did do gin in this, it would be nice. It would be really nice. But I think as it is, I really like it. It's, for a vodka drink, that's That's high praise. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. The Amaro is doing a lot of heavy lifting in terms of the complexity as well, because it isn't just bitter, it's also sweet, and it's got some herbal notes to it as well. That's one of the reasons I like Amaro nonino, and one of the reasons I like a paper plane. Yeah, there's that dry, astringent bitterness of the nonino, like at the back of my tongue. Oh, that's nice. I like that. That's pretty damn good. And that is Amdapor Keep. Sound off in the comments below if you decide to make this drink. I made this to my personal taste, so your mileage may vary. Please like, share, and subscribe if you liked the video, and feel free to check out the Patreon. And stay tuned for next time, which will be Feros Sirius. And until then, hear, feel, drink. Cheers. Thanks for watching, and a big thank you to all of my patrons. You can sign up for the Patreon for as little as $5 a month. And a big thank you to my Alliance level patrons, KLG Chaos, Mal the Pal, and Shy. See you next time.